Shalom. First and foremost, like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakar Double honors to the elders for preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely as well too. And I say shalom to you Akim out there. And this is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 25, red letter. Yahweh Shai speaking. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon, and in the stars upon the earth, disgrace of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. And this is a news article that I wanted to bring out because recently they had protests been increasing over there in Israel. Then at the same time, you have an tension stirring up between the Israelis and the Palestinians. And that's why I brought out the Luke 21 to 25 of the disgrace of nations and uprisings and protests, sedition among men, and uprisings and uproars in the people in the world. And that's what we're seeing in the world today, as I brought out the scripture of Luke 21 to 25. And this is a news article from RT.com as of March 16, 2023. RT Alternative News, world news around the world, and it reads: Israel near civil war, president stated. The prime minister proposed reforms having triggered a constitutional and social crisis, Isaac Herzog warned. And it says the Israeli president Isaac Herzog has warned that the GUWIH state stands on the brink of civil war over proposed judicial reform by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Governor amending nationwide protests. Herzog presented a set of alternative reforms which were rejected by Netanyahu. Those who think that a real war with human lives is border we don't cross. I have no idea, Herzog said in a video address on Wednesday. The bias is within touching distance, he continued, adding that any price and by any means I won't let it happen. Israel has been rocked by continuous protests since Netanyahu announced his proposed reform in January. These legal changes would allow Israel preliminary to override Supreme Court ruling with a simple major vote would grant the government more power in appointing judges and would limit the ability of the court to review legislations it deems unreasonable. The plenary on Tuesday vote to advance a bill would allow lawmakers to override rulings. The vote came after hundreds of thousands of demonstrators took the streets of Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Haifa, and other Israeli siding cities over the weekend to oppose its passage. And it says Herzog, whose role is largely a ceremonial one, responds by proposing an alternative package of reforms. Herzog's plan would still forbid the court from reviewing legislations it considers unreasonable, but would allow it to strike down preliminary decisions with two-thirds majority of justices. Among other compromises, it would also allow a preliminary to override rulings, but only with the agreement of at least one other branch of government. Netanyahu's reject Herzog's plan, telling reporters that it would only perpetuate the existing situation. His rejection triggered renewed protests on Wednesday evening as demonstrators gathered at Ben Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv in a bid to disrupt a planned trip by the PM to Berlin. Berlin, I meant to say. Criticals of the Prime Minister argue that the legal change would allow Netanyahu to rule as a authoritarian and to pass legislation shielding him from ongoing corruption investigations. Hagel sided with these critics last week, calling the reform oppressive and anti-democratic. It says in the appeal before Tuesday's vote, he declared that the reforms have triggered a constitutional and social crisis and should be abandoned before Israel suffers diplomatic, economic, social, and security repercussions. Bring up the Matthews. Yeah. All right. Right.
Bring me some money.
Mom said, you said, bring me some money.
I ain't got that check that got the fuck on. I got me a check that got a kick. That nigga gone.
I'll be at the minute.
That nigga's out here.
Slovakia for that. This is the book of, the reason why I brought out the scripture because with the increasing protests over there, and then you got the protests in regards to the protesters, they doesn't like the views of what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing, and the protest has been increasing since January. So, you got a lot of going on over there in Israel. You got the protesters over there, and then you got the tensions stirring up between the Israelis and the Palestinians. Those tensions are at an all-time high. Now you got this, what's going on right now as I read the article. And this is the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. Right, and that's what's going on right now. Both sides can't agree to certain things. One reading of the article, as I was reading at the end of the passage of the article, it was saying that something was anti-democratic or something like that. And then the reforms of Benjamin Netanyahu rejected. And that caused a lot of stir and a lot of criticism on his side, And then that's why we've been seeing a lot of tensions and protests that's been going on in that region in Tel Aviv, in Israel, And this is the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 25. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. Yep, so that's what we're seeing right now. A great division over there in Israel. As this according to a news article, it's going to be potentially an increasing civil unrest, which is the increasing protesters and hostilities on both sides. As the scripture says, as the news article says right here, it says Israel is nearing a civil war, a civil protest clashes, which is going to increase more and more. So, it's been like this ever since January, as I was reading down on further on the news article. So with that, and this is in regards to amending a nationwide protest, presenting a set of alternate reforms, which Benjamin Netanyahu rejected. So you got both sides kind of divided on this current situation of this legislation thing, of this some type of reform, I believe, of the government of Benjamin Netanyahu's, over a proposal judicial reform, I believe, and it was rejected by Benjamin Netanyahu. As you have continuing increasing protests over it, So you got protests against Benjamin Netanyahu's of his administration of him declining of some type of reform, I believe. So you're gonna have both sides divided on that. So protests has been increasing. That's why I brought out the Luke 21 and 25 of the disgressive nations with perplexity. And I'm gonna bring that out again. So you're gonna have a lot of increasing protests around the world. You're gonna have that sedition, division, and that's what we're seeing in the world today. That's why protests is at an all-time high around the world, especially with this recent one over there in Israel. It says, this is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, disgressive nations, right? Disgressive nations. A lot of tensions, uproars, protests, and that's what we're seeing. With perplexity, the seas and waves roaring, right? So we're going to continue to see more protests over there in Israel, while you still got the current tensions increasing between the Israelis and the Palestinians as well too. So it's a lot going on over there in the Middle East. Over there in Israel, and I believe a story came out as well too of 4 Palestinians were killed by Israelis. So you got those tensions stirring up at an all-time high over there as well too. And now you got this protest over there in Israel of a lot of people joining this protest, and it's gonna increase more and more and more. So with that, hopefully this sit-down lesson was edifying. I would like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bashem, Karkadash. Double honors to the elders for preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say Shalom.